GB News. Don't touch anything. We can see you. just tell us your feelings during that penalty shootout.
A roller coaster of emotions, I think, is the best way to describe it. Obviously, getting ahead in the penalty shootout was incredibly exciting, and you know at that point, as long as we don't miss a penalty, we're going to win the tournament. So, the hopes were high, but dashed pretty quick after that. And obviously, you get the big low and the big come down afterwards, which was a huge disappointment. But, you know, it's the first final we've been in for a long time. We've got to take some positives out of it. I think in the lead up to the final, I thought the manager got a lot of things absolutely spot on. And I think in the final, after we'd gone 1-0 up, I would have wanted us to be a little bit more positive and not kind of sit back quite so much. Although you have to give credit to the Italians as well. They did push us back a little bit.
Give us your top tips for penalties. I wish I'd have been asking you this sort of yesterday at this time, but you know, timing is not everything in this case. Your top tips, Matt.
Okay, so I mean, the first thing that has to happen is you have to want to be there in the first place, and I give huge amount of credit to the lads that did put their hand up and say, "Yep, stick me down as one of the 5." I think there were probably more than 5, so Gareth had to make decisions based on that. And then from there on in, my technique was always, my first instinct was to hit it hard into corners, and my first instinct would be to go to the goalkeeper's left. But I would keep my eye on the goalkeeper as long as I could, whilst doing a normal run-up, not the stuttered slow run-up sometimes that you see these days. But I still keep the goalkeeper in my peripheral vision, and if he moved too early towards the corner that I'm aiming for, it was very easy at the last minute just to whip your foot around the ball and pop it in the other corner.
Matt, a lot of England fans, a lot of football pundits around the world think that you should have played more for England. You only, unfortunately, got 8 full caps. A lot of people, including me, thought that was a travesty given your incredible performances for Southampton over the years. Can I say, Matt Le Tissier, if the England setup asked you before the World Cup to become their penalty coach, would you be available?
That's a job that I would quite happily do for nothing. Unfortunately, in 20 years, nobody's picked up the phone and asked me. But if somebody did pick up the phone, I'd be more than happy to help.
That's nice. Do you think that we should see Sir Gareth Southgate? We didn't win, but we've come so far, and we've had a lot of very special memories along the way.
No, I think we should wait to do that until after we've won the World Cup next year.
And let's just go back to your particular penalty technique. Watching you sometimes on the terraces, but mainly on the television, you seem to master the technique of hitting it with the side of your foot, but really hard. So you got the direction that came from side footing rather than instepping the ball, but you managed to get tremendous force on the ball, even though you were using a side foot. How did you do that?
I think a lot of that is just to do with timing, and I think a lot of practice. And I think, you know, I had fairly strong quad muscles, which helped that situation. And that's always something that I would advocate. A side foot keeps the accuracy on the ball, and if you can make the side foot nice and powerful, it gives the goalkeeper very little chance to actually get into the corner and save the penalty. The only chance they'll have is if they actually move too early, and that's where I was able to try and keep an eye on them as long as I could to see if they did move early. Then I was able to change my mind at the last minute. I wasn't an advocate of the just pick a corner and stick with it. I kept my mind open right until the very last second.
Three young black players subject to the most appalling racist abuse overnight. What do we do about racism in football?
Well, I don't think you can just say it's racism in football. Unfortunately, it's racism in society. I don't think you can just label that at football. I think, from my experiences and what I've seen, is that as generations have gone on, I think I've seen a big improvement in the racism side of things in this country. But clearly, there is still a minority of people who feel that is the correct way to behave, and they feel that there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. And unfortunately, the only way that you can do that is through education. and it's a very sad indictment on these guys' education and their upbringing that they think that that's an appropriate way to communicate with a lad who's been brave enough to go and stick his head above the parapet and put his hand up when the manager said who's going to take a penalty in this high pressure situation. And I give all credit to those young boys for sticking their hands up and doing that, because that takes a heck of a lot of bottle, which is something that these people that are abusing them on social media don't have.
Well said, Matt Le Tissier. Thanks so much for coming on GB News. It means a lot to us. It'd be great to get you in the studio here at some stage, because you are not only Le God, you're also clearly England's future World Cup penalty coach. And you heard it here first on GB News. Matt Le Tissier. Stick with us here on Gloria and Liam. Plenty of coming up for you in the next hour.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.